Hey guys, welcome back. So today I'm going to show you how to build a Nagios plugin. Now you can use any language to build a Nagios plugin. You can use Bash scripts, Perl, Python, C++, Java, C Sharp, as long as the application program runs on the command line. So I'm going to show you how to actually build one with a few simple steps. So let's build something with a Bash script, a simple Nagios plugin using a bash shell command. Okay, let's go. Okay, so before building the plugin, you need to understand there are three components to a Nagios output. So the first component, like we have shown here, is the human readable message. So the human readable message is the one that you get over here. So if you look at the Nagios console, you'll be able to see that this particular portion will be the human readable part of the Nagios message. So what's the other part? Okay, so this part over here, the Nagios performance component, that's the second part of the Nagios plugins output. Okay, so that's where you get all the graphs that we can always draw either with RRD or Grafana. And the last part is the return status. So return status has three components. Either it can be a 0, 1, 2 or 3. So 0 basically means everything is working perfectly. 1 is warnings, 2 is critical, and 3 means we don't know what on earth is happening over there. So it could be a general error, maybe some internet connectivity, or it can't just access, or it doesn't have permission, right? So these are the three components that we need to remember when we are building the Nagios output. Okay, so let's start building the output. Okay, so let's start creating the plugin. So before we start creating the plugin, again, we need to know exactly what kind of commands we're going to use. So for example, if I'm going to create a plugin that returns the free memory, and if I wanted to graph out something, I would certainly need something like the free command. So let's take in free. Right, so this actually does return the values that I need. For example, total, use, free, and available. So let's take it as not with human readable. Okay, I got the bytes. That's much better. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to get the first, this is the second column. Okay, so I need the second column, third column, maybe fourth column, and 5, 6, 7th column. Okay, and yeah, this is the first second column. Okay, so I need that. So let me use something like awk and an r equal first line, second line. Okay, so this is the second line. I need the second line on that. Yeah, okay, so now I got only the second line. Then after I get the second line, I would again need to pipe that and then start cutting this into columns. So let me get the total. Let me get the total. awk can do print and $12. Okay, so I got that. Okay, so let's right. Okay, so now that we have some variables, some values, we can create the variables with this. Okay, so let's try creating a Nagios plugin. So let's do sudo vi usr local Nagios. It's in libexe. You can say check my free mem. Okay, that's my new Nagios plugin. I'm going to create that with bin bash. Okay, and okay, so I got that. Let me save it first, and let me come up here and just I'll just copy this line from here. It's a lot easier then for me to do that. Okay, so m line equal, I need the return value of that. Now in order to get the return value, I need to put it in single quotes, but that's that other inverted single quote, right? And that's the full line. Then I can get now the total, okay, from this variable. So what I'll do is again inverted single quotes, and I can say echo and $m line, and I can do my operations on that. For example, I can do a awk and print $1 oops, sorry, $2 if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, right, so that should be, oops, this should be in here. Okay, right, and then m free. Is it m free? Yeah. Okay, m free, and then can do another echo m line. What's it? Variable awk single quote bracket print and dollar. I think it's $4. I have no idea. Let's check it out. Okay, where is this? Okay, so $2 is the total, and $3 is used, and 4 is free. Correct. Yeah, I was right. 4 is free, and m used equal. I can do this again. Echo m line awk print and $3. Yeah, so $3 is the used, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. Used is 1, 2, and third column. Okay, and yeah, that's it. So that's okay. So I got the values here. Now I can create a Nagios function. So the Nagios function, it's actually a good practice to use a function. So I'm going to use some good practices when dealing with this the plugin. So what I'm going to do is I'm just create a Nagios some kind of function. Okay, it can be anything. It doesn't need to be like, can be ABC function. So I'm going to name it as Nagios function. And since this value is going to be returned, I need to have it as human readable. So let's say $1. Okay, $1, yeah, $2 actually. So $2 memory usage usage, and we can say equal m used. Okay, right, so that's the use. And then here comes the actual. Okay, so remember I said there are 3 components in the Nagios output that we need to remember. So this is the first component. Okay, the first component is the one that is human readable, and that is separated by a single pipe. Okay, that's a vertical line, that's a pipe. So it's separated by that. So here I'm going to use free mem equal $m free, and then 3 semicolons. Okay, yeah, 3 semicolons, and then used mem. That's a variable. Okay, so you need to know that this is a variable. So is this. So that's why it doesn't have any spaces or anything like that. It's following a standard variable pattern. M used. Okay, so use memory is equal m used 1, 2, 3. And yeah, so those are actually needed. Well, actually not needed at all, but I generally keep them there as a practice. It basically puts in a line in the RRD graphs. It puts in a warning line, and it also puts in a critical line. So that way you can put values like this. 1, 2, 3, and it'll put a it'll basically draw a horizontal line above the graphs. It's just a visual aspect. Okay, right, so now I'm going to use oh yeah, so we definitely need to know what's the critical and what's the warning. So 2 values that we need to enter from the command line. So let's say from this plugin. Okay, the plugin can be written in anything as long as it can run on the command line. You can use it. So I need to say, let's say, a warning. Okay, so that's okay, and critical. Okay, so that's a warning and that's a critical. So let's say maybe 6 yeah, okay, what am I saying? What am I typing there? Okay, that's 5 gigabytes. So if the warning, yeah, so if the values are less than 5 gigabytes, and that's if the free memory. So the free memory less than 5 gigabytes is the warning, but if it's less than 2 gigabytes, it's critical. Okay, so we can anyway decide exactly what whether it's a kilobyte or a megabyte later on, but we need to pass those 2 values. So the way to pass them is using is using the $1 and $2. Okay, so I'm going to use sudo vi, yeah, $1 and $2. So I'm going to use first parameter is going to be, let's say the m used, okay, is greater than $2. Okay, that's a critical value. Then what shall we do? Okay, so let's call the Nagios function. Okay, oh, that's not okay, that's correct. So let's call the Nagios function. Okay, and let's pass in a string. Okay, so the string is going to be critical. Okay, yeah, and that is the first parameter. So what we're going to do is inside the function we're going to get the first parameter of the passed value. So that will be here, just like in your Java we would, like, put in int h and long t or something like that. So this would become h, okay, the variable h, but in the bash script we don't have that. Okay, so the bash takes in $1. So you need to actually remember the order in which you are passing these values. Okay, right. So that's $1, and we can basically okay, whatever, right? Okay, and okay, so now we have created 3 components. First is the human readable value. So that's if it's a warning or critical or okay, it'll come over here, and this part becomes a human readable part, and this one becomes the Nagios readable part, where it graphs the data. And the third component, which I told you we need to return with either 0, 1, 2 or 3, just in like I've shown you here, right? Over here you have 0, 1, 2 or 3, which is the status. Okay, so in this particular case we are going to return exit 2. That means it's a critical. Okay, that means something seriously wrong with this. Okay, so that's that. Okay, and else if, okay, else if the m used is greater than $1, that's a parameter that we are passing in from the command line, like I showed you in here. So you can basically pass it like that. Okay, hold on. Okay, so let's say 1 GB. Yeah, so if that's a warning. So if the free memory less than 1 GB, say a warning, but if it is less than 500 MB, is that correct? Yes. So if it is 500 MB, it's a critical. So then we would be generating critical based on these values, so warning and critical. Okay, let's get back to editing this file. And right, so we have that, and then we call the Nagios function back again, and this time we're going to pass in the warning and exit 1. Okay, then if then, right, and Nagios function warning, and then finally the else statement, which is Nagios function returns everything is okay, and exit 0. Okay, so if the criteria is met over here, it returns a critical. If the criteria is met over here, it returns a warning, and if it does not meet the criteria, that means everything is okay. Okay, right, so that's our Nagios function. Let me see if I can maybe add a little more human readable data, like for example memory usage is used. Might be able to put a comma there, and I'll say total. Okay, from total $m total. Okay, so do I have everything here? Okay, 2, 4, 3 AWKs, echo. Yeah, so everything seems to be okay. Let's make this an executable file. Okay, so 750. Okay, right? Let's see. Okay, 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, permission denied because ch yeah, sudo ch1 nagios. Okay, right, now it should work. Sudo chmod 755. Yeah, correct, it's working. Okay, probably didn't belong to the group, this user. Okay, so now that we have the free memory usage, data seems to be coming in properly. Okay, fantastic. Right, so that's how you build a Nagios plugin. So let's look at that Nagios plugin again. Here it is. Right, so you can basically see how easy it is to build a Nagios plugin. You just need to just construct this line. So if you know any other language like Java or C# or Node.js, whatever language that you're using, whatever that you're familiar with, even C++, you can just build an output that generates from the command line. Now remember, the output needs to be a simple text output, like for example single line value that has one component of that string is the human readable side, the second component is the performance data side, right? So I have two variables here, and the third component, which is the exit. So if you know those three, it's very easy to build a Nagios plugin. So let's integrate this with our system. Okay, all right, so let's integrate this plugin with the Nagios system. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the command file. So that's the Nagios etc objects command cfg. Okay, so if you have the default location, then it's usr local Nagios etc objects command cfg. All right, and in here just go down a few lines and you should be able to come across this section, sample service check commands. Okay, under that I suggest that you use this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the check by SSH component, right? This is completely new, it's not there, but if you do have something like check NRP, you can always use the check NRPE and have it. Now this one I've made it a bit more generic. Okay, so let's check by SSH. Now the check by SSH has a couple of parameters, so it's already there, it's built in with the plugins. If you have installed the Nagios, it's already there with the NRPE here, right? So in here it takes in the host address. I'm using IPv4, and this additional one is I'm using that just in case if maybe the the certificates have expired, or maybe the host name is incompatible. Maybe I copy the private key from one server to another server, therefore it doesn't authenticate or authorize it correctly. So I'm going to just ignore that. What I really need is just the private key. Okay, so I'm using the private key. So this is my private key. ID RSA Ubuntu, that's my private key, and that's my username, and the command that I'm going to execute is located here. So that's the file. So my plugin file which I edited is located in here. So it's going to take in this parameter, right? So you can just copy this down. Okay, next is I'm going to use something called data. Okay, so that's my file. So in here I have a file with the host details, and I am going to add something like, okay, I'm going to copy one of my existing ones. Okay, and let's go to the bottom of that file. Okay, and paste it, and I'm going to say this is SSH free mem. Okay, right, so here I have the check by SSH, the one that's the variable that I defined, in the command cfg. So I'm using that over here, and I'm not going to use any of this. Instead, I'm going to use my new plugin, which is check free mem. Okay, check free mem. Okay, check free mem. Okay, and I'm going to use maybe about 1 mega. Okay, 1 GB. 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, and 200. If it's less than 200 megabytes, critical. If it's less than 1 GB, it's a warning. Okay, and check free mem. Yeah, everything seems to be okay. Check by SSH. I'm going to use that variable, and yep, okay, seems good. See, you can as you can see, it's pretty easy once you establish the command syntax, the command parameter. It's so easy to just add this block, which is a completely new service, right? You don't have to modify anything. So the only thing, the first time you need to add the command. See, once you add this command, right, and it takes in a couple of variables, so you don't need to constantly keep adding new plugins every time you define a new plugin or you create a new plugin. You don't need to add another variable here or another line here. You don't need to touch this file at all, right? So if you just just copy these two, that's great, these two blocks. Okay, right, so let's get back to that Nagios. As you can see, it's just that, so everything seems good. Only those two files I need editing, and I just need to stop Nagios and start it up again. And I just need to come back here. Let's see whether the changes have got reflected. Okay, so my new command is down here, SSH free memory. Okay, so I'm going to come back in another 5 minutes and let's check it out. Okay, so the plugin is working, and we can actually see the data actually coming through, right? So let's see. So SSH free memory, yeah, data is coming, it's getting plotted correctly. So there's around 4.7 GB used and about 3 GB free, yeah, right? And you can actually just see that everything is okay. Usage is this much out of that much, right? Well, if it's not actually coming, if it's alerting at a incorrect level, it's probably because the thresholds are way too low. So what I did was I readjusted the thresholds to 6.5 GB and 7 GB. Remember the values are actually returning kilobytes, not bytes, returning kilobytes. So you have to keep a track of that as well when you're actually putting these numbers. Okay, so that's it from me. I'll see you later.